Nice to meet you.
Doing really good. Nice to meet
Good.
you too. Let me get this off here.
Yeah. Where are you
Perfect.
located?
I'm in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just
Okay.
south of Nashville. Where are you?
Excellent. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, right in the middle of the country.
All right, I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, man, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into you. There's so much going on in your life. I'm looking forward to peeling back the layers. So thank you for taking a minute out.
100%. This is great to talk. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited to be here.
absolutely. So before we get into your life, I want to know, I know we're all getting tired of talking about COVID, but it was such a big moment for us. So many things changed. So ultimately, when you look back on that time period, how did you get through it, and how has it affected the way that you do business and live now?
Yeah, so we have a couple businesses, right? My wife and I, one thing we did prior to that is that, we were on the cusp, at that point we had three children, right? Three really small children, at the cusp, it was zero, right? 2 and 4, right? But we had had this conversation first. If there was anything dramatic to come up in our life, that there was going to be two focuses. She was going to go all family, I was going to go all business, right? So we had that pre-talk when that occurred, right? So I was able to put all of my energy focused to make sure that, we have a lot of investors, right? We have a lot of investments, right? So making sure that everything stayed true and was able to operate and just maintain right, throughout that time. And then my wife was making sure that she had all the focus on the family and the kids, right? And then in the energy, we would help over the gap when one really required more. So that was the first. The second is that, I grew up in New Jersey. I lived there all my life, including, about 11 years in New York City. Were living in New Jersey at the time of COVID. And we had discussed, my wife grew up in Hawaii, right? We met in New York City, but she's from Hawaii. We had discussed moving, right? And so that accelerated our move to here, right, to where we stand today, which has been just massively impactful and just been great. So, but it probably would have, if we didn't have that, it probably would have prolonged that,
Yeah.
that step to get here.
So let's delve into everything that you do here in 2024. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade schoolers, third graders. It's career day.
Sure,
One of the kids
sure,
is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you
sure.
answer them?
I buy large buildings where people live and I make them better places to live because everyone deserves a great place to live. And so we buy large apartment communities that have multiple people living in them. And then we go and make them better places to live so their kids can go out and have a great place to live and go play outside without feeling that they're living somewhere awful. So we do that on a small level. Past that, I have businesses that go out and fix people's toilets and fix people's air conditions. That's another business that we have. And then I have a coaching business that helps people prepare themselves better for life so they can be happy and live kind lives.
So, what did you want to be when you were in the third grade? What was your dream?
I wanted to play for the Knicks. That would have been my
Oh,
part. Right.
very
And I, I
cool.
think I think back in that, I grew up in New York City and that was the we'll say the golden age of Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, just a lot of fun those days. And energy changes throughout, but that was one of my goals at those times.
So, take me back to your childhood. What were these foundational elements of loving sports and eventually becoming an entrepreneur and everything that's evolved into who you are today? What were the seeds that were planted?
Uh, so the couple things that stand out, right? So I'm a kid, very we'll say foreign to life's obstacles, right? And then I get to 13 and my best friend gets killed in a boat accident. I'm 14. Another friend gets all drugged up, gets killed in a car accident. 15, a friend commits suicide, and at 17, I had a girlfriend I was with 4 years at that time, and she was one that I felt like I could really connect with. She got killed in a car accident, so I lost a lot of we'll say, ability to make clear decisions, right, or have confidence because of just many things. And so that kind of derailed me for a bit, right? So going to college without motivation, leaving college without really a direction, working a lot of odd jobs until, there was a moment in New York City I was working behind a bar and just angry at the world. And on my way home on my bike at 2 or 3 in the morning, got hit by a car one night and left at the hospital after having a bunch of things, bandaged back together and thinking about just how I had to get back to the bar job to make rent. I said, man, that's just a horrible thought. I don't like where I am, and all I'm thinking about now after getting hit by a car is getting back to where I don't want to be. So made a pact to myself that was just okay, either you just keep doing the same thing and be okay with it and stop complaining, right? Or start doing something different. And usually we get stuck at we just don't know what to do different. And I was just like, just don't do what I was doing, right? So it was a step away from where I was to where I am today, which start get up earlier, stop drinking at night, start working out, just start exploring new things. And with that, went from working behind the bar to owning bar, owning a restaurant in New York City, opening a brewery in New York City, managing a family construction business at a time back in New Jersey to really venturing into real estate, which has been some of the track that has laid down the path for us to get to where we are today, owning large apartment communities.
So, who's been an inspiration? Who's been that hero for you in your drive in life?
It constantly adapts, right? Because many times you like for a lot of times, it's interesting. My dad and my mom have always been together, but they faced hard times, right? Throughout, most of my middle school and high school, my dad had a business and he's retired now, but he would just be constantly gone, right? Just working his part. So you look at your dad and you want to be, but then you realize the struggles they're having. So you look at other people. I had the owner of one of the bars I worked at. He did it great. Like he was really an inspirational guy because he went from nothing, right? He was a captain of a ship that constantly had struggles to owning basically a bar that became the biggest bar in New York City, and just based on the energy and just the we'll say the desire to just step away from where he was. So he was a great guy. He did pass, but he was a great guy to follow because he was just one that believed in me and said, if you're going to do something, I'll be in, 50% whatever you do. I was like, and that was the first step where you had someone behind you, right? So I think that was a big stepping stone for me.
So, if you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that's in the realm of what you do or otherwise that you find inspirational or fascinating, who would you love to meet and spend some time with?
Within what I do. I mean, there's many parts, but if I'm just one person, you can't pass up Elon Musk, someone who's able to do so much and make such a big change, right? That's just the easy answer. Like the guy's doing so much, he's making so much dramatic change that he's the easiest one right now. Of course, we had Trump, to get elected. You'd love to meet Trump. He's someone that's transcended on multiple facets. I mean, there's not many people that would have so many things thrown at them between accusations, sentencing, getting shot at that still would say, you know what, I'm gonna still sign up for that. So you look at those two first and foremost. Past that, there's many people who go into big parts of real estate who just do tremendously well and just build mega businesses. So there's a guy who owns Dominion. I think he would be a great one to talk to because he's been able to scale from just a company just started on a hitch to owning 2 billion in real estate.
So, of all of these periods of your life of growth and being an entrepreneur, what was one of the hardest periods but you grew the most that really kind of shaped the way that you are today?
Yeah, I think getting hit by that car, right? I think that was a part because you had to look back and it's very easy to blame other people, right? That's the easiest thing. It's very easy to not take responsibility and just say that it's everybody else's fault. That's easy, right? I could say today that anything, right? I could point at anything. Oh, Trump got elected. Oh, or anything else. Like all these things could be a reason why I can or I can't. But when you put the focus back on like none of this matters, like we have to be control of what we do, and we're either going to take control of just how we show up and how we react, or we're going to blame others. And when I started to put it back on me that I can just control my actions, it wasn't easy, right? Because you're in this world where you grow up with negativity, you go up with parts of your day and time that you're constantly looking at other reasons why you are lacking. And when you put it back in you, it's hard because you have to own it. And when you start to own it, it allows you to truly look at what you're doing so you can position yourself to where you want to go.
But what is every day you wake up, you have to give a lot of yourself in all of these ventures that you're involved with. What is that energy for you every day to do that and to also evolve and develop as a human being? What's that collective gas?
First thing is get up and control your morning. That's been a huge part for me. I get up early, rise up at 4:32 a.m. I started making it because it just wasn't a big deal to get up early. You get up at 6 or 6:15 or 6:10, you hit the snooze button, it's not a big deal. But when I figured out it was a big deal, I had to get up and take back control and just of everything I was doing. So the moment I get up, have a glass of water, sit down and meditate, I go work out, I have a coffee, I then get in front of now my wife who's just getting up and I have time my kids. But what that's allowed me to do is just calm the noise before the storm. And with that, it's allowed me to be prepared to make decisions in the moment instead of just living in a life of chaos. Years ago, and most people, we live in a life of chaos, right? You just wake up, you're late, you eat something poor, you jump in the car, you get stuck in traffic, you're angry by the time you get to work, there's fire after fire, and you're just constant in this chaos mode. And that was the life I was living to. And so when I started to take control of at least that period of time in the morning, it's that moment where I'm calm, I'm collected, and I'm now prepared to go and face, whatever comes up today.
So if you had a dream tonight, ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've gained along the way, what advice would you impart?
Stretch more. That would be the first one. I think that would be the easiest one, right? I work out, each and every day, and I think that would definitely carry forward as and also the slow steps and the small steps build up to massive giant gains. And especially with social media today, you look at something, everybody's got this massive thing that they've done yesterday, right? But we never see the small steps and the struggles. And if you can just take 10 minutes a day, and it's all right, you don't have to, not 5 hours, 3 minutes, just 10 minutes each day and put that energy into something that interests you, think about how far you'll be in 6 months, a year, 5 years, just doing 10 minutes a day.
Yeah. So of everything that you've done, accomplished, and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Uh, Still in part, I'm really proud of my family. I think in terms of what we've done and the life we've created, just what we've built and the way that we're looking to give. I guess if I'm looking at like a success point, like I'm not forcing my kids to make a decision, but I'm looking to prepare them in the best way so when they're faced with a challenge, whether I'm here or not, that they're going to have the best values to be able to make the best decision for them. And if I've done that, then I will be massively proud.
So everyone has a perception of you in all these different capacities in your life, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your
Mhm.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I would say I'm patiently persistent, right? I think that that would be the cleanest explanation is that I have goals and I know that if I start to control the steps, right, and just the actions that the goal may evolve, but I'll get closer to that goal of doing that. Most of the time we put the on-site on the goal and then every day is a failure, right? But if you look at just the steps, the actions that you can go and track, then ultimately, you will see each day as something that you're progressing.
So, as obviously somebody that wanted to be in the NBA one day, if you could get into a time machine and go back and see one NBA game and
Hmm.
be there, where would you go?
Starks, that dunk, right?
Yeah.
That dunk over the Bulls, like that would be the game for sure.
Right on. Man,
Yeah,
hey, if anyone wants to reach out, learn more about you, hire you, any of the good business, where can they go?
sure. So go over to Instagram, Jason Yarusi, and Instagram. You also go to jasonyarusi.com. There's a free assessment there. You can go take that assessment. It just what it does, it shows you how you're showing up each day. It gives you your starting line, and it just shows you where you are in your values today, and gives you a launch point.
Right on. Jason, this has been great, man. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your
Thank you.
time. Best of luck with
Absolutely.
everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.